And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kim's Nissan here in Laurel, Mississippi on 15th Avenue. Having a great day here, Kinsley. You know, last night we saw a game in the jungle that didn't go our way, but hey, you know something? The Tigers will live to face another day. They're going to be taking on Mendenhall next week. You know, what are some takeaways from that game last night that you saw, and what are some things that the Tigers can improve on?
Well, funny you say that. My takeaways from the game, offensively, need better line play. Defensively, we just need to tackle. Like I was telling you, it doesn't matter how good your back's off. I mean, if you don't have time to do anything, if your line can't create any lanes, or if they can't protect the quarterback, it really doesn't matter. You know, offense it always starts in the trenches. I mean, if it's not good there, it's not going to be good anywhere else. That's pretty much my take on that.
You know, you're right, because if you look at it, offensive line play makes a difference. I mean, you can have the best skill players in the world, but if you don't have an offensive line, at least two or three, then you're not doing nothing. I mean, because that's what it matters, because if you can't get that push in the trench, then it ain't you can't do nothing.
Yeah, it's like having a good car with a bad motor.
I mean, what's the point in that? I mean, it's not going to happen. So, you know, it is what it is, you know, but we're going to get past that. The Tigers will take on Mendenhall next week.
Yeah, so, just
Mendenhall is always tough.
They are a very tough team.
Always tough.
Historically, I mean, they've been tough. But, this only one thing we can do. We can just, tighten it up and just play ball.
I see it. Hey, what about another game in Jones County last night? What about the Laurel Tornadoes beating West Jones Mustangs 23-17?
Yeah, that was definitely the game of the week, and I was pretty interested in how that matchup was going to unfold. I mean, basically, when you look at it, you have the Mustangs. They have a good defensive end in Byron Young, and then they also have a pretty good secondary. I mean, I hear the offense, they're pretty decent, but then when you look at, Laurel Tornadoes, I mean, they have a pretty good all-around team offensively. So, I mean, you put those two together, well, I guess, the Laurel Tornadoes, they just, figured out a way to get past the defensive end in that secondary.
Absolutely. So, what were you got something to add there, Cliff?
Well, they got Charles Cross, he committed to Florida State. He's a massive offensive tackle. He's great. He's both Byron and Charles are both ranked in the ESPN 300 top players in the country. So it was a great matchup there. It was a great game. Went to overtime. Just that's the way it happens, I guess. So it's like I said, you got a lot of great players here in South Mississippi.
Absolutely. So also Petal last night won against Jim Hill big. So shout out to them. Big shout out to all of our sponsors this morning. Kim's Nissan, Central Sunbelt Federal Credit Union, and Crazy 8 Vapors, who just come on yesterday. Jared Rainey is here with us this morning to talk college football. So, Jared, it's good to have you here with us this morning, as well as Cliff here from Kim's Nissan. So, Kinsley, are you ready to talk college football?
Oh, yeah. This seems like we have a lot of interesting matchups this week. I mean, you never really know what's going to happen any given Saturday, to be honest. So, hey, I feel like we have a lot of maybe possibly a couple of upsets.
Upsets? Are you referring – are you talking about the Golden Eagles maybe? Are you talking about that kind of an upset?
Well, when you're expecting them to win, it's really not, considered an upset. But, I mean, I guess since half the nation really sees that, North Texas is really the better team, okay, I guess I can say that's nothing.
Hold on now. North Texas is the better team.
They have
their quarterback. He can pass it. He can run it. I mean, well, what does Southern Miss have that's so great?
We have a quarterback that can pass. We actually have speed on offense. We have two good young running backs. Not really as experienced, but I mean, hey, they're still manageable.
Are you sure about that?
Sure. And we have a pretty stout defense, to be honest. I mean, they're young, but I mean, they've progressed over the weeks. And I mean, they've actually shown they can create turnovers.
Come on now.
That's what I'm talking about, though, Granted, North Texas is averaging over 40 points per game. But, I got to go with my heart this time. The nasty bunch. I think they're going to go down there and make it happen. Nasty bunch. Go Eagles.
Are y'all kidding me?
No, go Eagles.
Are y'all kidding me?
I think you're kidding yourself, John.
Man, the game is in Denton, Texas.
Makes it even better.
To the top.
Yeah.
Are y'all kidding me?
No, we're being dead serious, John.
Jared, you got to come in on this discussion. What are you thinking here on this game? I mean, are you thinking like these guys? Please tell me you're not.
Well, I always I like to have hope in my home team. That's where my hope lies, is right there. But I don't know.
You think North Texas, huh?
I ain't gonna say. You know what? I'm not a gambler here.
Tell us what you
Open
feel
sports
right here.
discussion.
This is the round table discussion right here. Tell us what you think.
I feel like if somebody was gonna win that I wanted to win, it's gonna be USM.
There you go.
Okay.
So 3 against 1, John.
There's always got to be an oddball, so I guess I'll be that oddball in here and say, not so fast, my friends.
I mean,
I'm going to go with North Texas.
Okay.
I think Southern will keep it close,
but
I think North Texas, let's face it now.
Yep.
You remember a few years ago?
We're talking about this year, John. Not
a few years ago, the Eagles had a 28-7 lead on North Texas. What happens?
Okay.
What happens? North Texas comes back and wins 40-28, if you recall. Is that right?
That sounds like a Falcons-Patriots game, but guess what happened?
Hey, we're not talking about the Falcons-Patriots. We're talking about the series in this game right here that dates back to the 50s.
Okay, well, same type of
It's even right now.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you what. North Texas is going to take it, and they're going to win tonight.
They're going to take a butt whooping what they're going to take.
I don't think so, Scooter.
Well, stop thinking.
I don't think so.
All right.
Anyway, moving right along.
Moving on. Okay. We get into it here on the show.
That's not a problem.
So
go Eagles.
Yeah. Give a shout out to Big Ten Bob, who's over in Stone Mountain, Georgia. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they're over at the Susan B. Komen fundraiser and helping to bring more awareness for that. So remember, all those that have went through breast cancer, fighting breast cancer as we speak. So remember that this month. The next game is the team up north, Ole Miss, going up to the road to take on Arkansas. Now that game, I don't think defense is going to be allowed in that game because Ole Miss doesn't have a really good defense.
I was going to say,
Arkansas doesn't have a really good defense, but the game's in Arkansas, and this game has a history of going into overtime, and it has a history of being a really good game. It's kind of one of those other rival games that have really taken off. What do you think about this one, Cliff? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think Arkansas has been struggling really tough this year, and, Ole Miss has had its struggles here and there. But, Ole Miss, they got all the pieces to put into that game. They got great receivers, great running backs. I don't think Arkansas is going to have enough to take Ole Miss in this game. And like you said, I know it's going to be a tight game, but I think Ole Miss goes through and makes this one happen.
Okay. Jared, what are you thinking? How do you see this one playing out?
The way I saw Arkansas play my team Alabama last week, I'm gonna go with Arkansas this week. I'm gonna go with Arkansas.
Okay.
I'm Arkansas. You already know my stance on Ole Miss, so Arkansas. Plus, Ole Miss doesn't have any defense anyway.
They got a saying up in Arkansas. Y'all know what that is? Woo, pig, suey. Go Hogs. The Hogs are going to win this one. I think by maybe a touchdown. So that should be a good one. Yeah, maybe more. Maybe 2 touchdowns.
Again, I'm going to say
so 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I'll give them that.
You know,
Okay.
Arkansas probably does have the better defense of the two, just like you said, the way they played Alabama. But, you know, they got some great wide receivers out there on the outside. You know, we're just going to have to see offense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, moving on to another SEC game, and this is Alabama taking on Missouri. Now, you know, Missouri has a really good quarterback. They like to pass the ball around, you know. But Alabama has a tough defense. I mean, it's the best in the country.
Yeah, just put it
I
like
mean, there's
this.
Alabama, and then there's everybody else that
Yeah.
wants to be like Alabama.
Whatever their opposition has, Bama has it better.
Hey, you
Well-
said something about a quarterback. What about that quarterback or two quarterbacks there in Alabama?
Right.
There's nobody going to beat Bama this year. I got to go with
Yeah.
Bama.
Bama
Yeah,
will not
Bama's
lose.
tough.
Yeah, they're not going to lose a game this year.
Yeah, I hope my Bulldogs can win, but
Against who?
Alabama, but it's not going to happen. I mean, I'm going to be pulling for my dogs, and I'll get mad, and you know,
And
I
there's
mean,
nothing wrong with that. You
but
know, they play.
you always got to have hope.
Yeah, there you go.
You know.
Sometimes that's all you can have.
But Alabama beats Missouri probably as bad as they want to.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just have the way. I mean,
Jared, what do you think? Tell us. This is your team, Alabama. You're a Crimson Tide fan.
I think there's going to be some ups and downs. I think they might score, a few touchdowns, maybe. And every time they do, it's going to be like they won the game. But I mean, I tell you, based on experience and watching these games, I don't see it. I don't see it going any other way than Alabama.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Bama played Ole Miss and
Yeah.
Ole Miss scored the first play of the
Ole Miss
game.
thought they had
They
a
were going
shot.
crazy.
But
I like-
then it's like, oh, reality hits.
You know, but you know,
That's at least a 3 touchdown, at least,
Yeah.
win
Well,
for Alabama.
the spread on there I saw yesterday was Alabama 30.
Yeah, I mean, that's realistic, I think.
I mean, that's really, honestly, it's going to be as bad as Alabama wants to beat them. So, I mean, that's, what we're looking at here in this one. So, let's move to the ACC for a game or two. All right, Cliff is an ACC guy. He knows these teams.
Go Noles.
He's a Florida State guy. The Noles aren't playing this weekend.
That's correct.
So, we got Georgia Tech hosting Duke in a, sort of a interesting matchup between former Ole Miss coach. Ole Miss let this guy go years ago, David Cutcliffe, and Duke said, "Hey, we'll hire you." I mean, just think if Ole Miss would have hung on to this guy.
Great coach, I agree. Great coach.
He's really an uplifter. He's a player's coach. He coached Peyton Manning at Tennessee as his quarterback's coach.
okay.
So the kind of caliber this kind of a coach is. So Georgia Tech and Duke. Georgia Tech runs the triple option. Duke runs a spread. Just a typical spread, a little passing, a little running. Cliff, tell us what you think about this game. Give us the inside scoop.
Let me tell you, Duke is allowing over 122 yards on the ground. And coming into a game in Georgia like that and playing Georgia Tech with that triple option, if they don't come to play really and really, really be ready, Georgia's going to run all over them. I think Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech, they're going to run all over Duke, and Georgia Tech's going to come out and win this game.
Okay. Jared, what do you think about this game? Do you like the Yellow Jackets or the Blue Devils?
I gotta say, I'm gonna go with the Jackets on this one. I don't think Blue Devils got what it takes.
All right.
Yeah, I'm Georgia Tech on this one. Really, honestly, don't know much about either team, but I mean, I have heard much about Georgia Tech's running game. They are pretty legit, so I think Georgia Tech's going to be too much for Duke.
All right. In another game, and I'm Georgia Tech, the Rambling Wreck as well, so I think they're going to really just take control of the running game. Paul Johnson, he's been there a while, really knows, the triple option. I think David Cutcliffe is a good coach, but I don't think that defense is going to be able to hold the rushing attack of Georgia Tech. So the Yellow Jackets probably win by at least 2 touchdowns in this one. Okay, the other game in the SEC that's going to be a big one, Georgia, and then we'll talk about the Big Ten game. Georgia on the road to LSU. Now,